It's the bottom of the hour. We're back here on Get Up. And again, coaches talking this morning, and they did yesterday as well. And among them was Mike Tomlin, who has a brand new, rejuvenated quarterback room that features two well-known names, Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. And despite Tomlin saying that Wilson has the pole position on the starting job, he also expressed lots of excitement about the younger Fields.
You know, he oozes talent and potential. He's worn the responsibility of being a franchise quarterback, but still he gets an opportunity to come into a community-like situation and learn from a guy that's been doing it for over a decade. Man, there's a lot of meat left on that bone, man. I'm just excited about working to be a part of extracting it. When it's time to compete, we get in training camp-like settings and going to preseason stadiums and so forth. Obviously, Justin will be given an opportunity to show his capabilities.
Why did you laugh while he was talking?
I love that guy, man.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, man, he the ops. I'm not supposed to like him because he's a Steeler and I'm a Raven. But, man, I tell you, I would love to go play for a guy like that.
But what's he saying? What are you reacting to specifically?
Well, just, you know, a lot of meat on the bone. He says all the right things. And, listen, it's about managing egos, right? And I think he's done a great job in creating a situation where Justin Fields, I believe, can flourish, right? Because he comes in with no expectations, which is going to make him hungry. He understands that he's playing for his career. You have an opportunity to sit him behind a veteran who can handle all the pressure. But then there's nobody that's more popular on the football team than the backup quarterback, right? And it's only, you know, Russell Wilson is only, you know, setting himself up for, if he doesn't play great, to lose that job. So, you know, you're going over here and everything that Mike Tomlin is saying is written in pencil. Yeah, today Russell Wilson is the starter.
Yeah.
But I think in the future, before it's all said and done, the end of the season, Justin Fields is going to be the guy that takes him to the next level with those young legs. Justin Fields is everything that Russell Wilson used to be, right? People forget that Russell Wilson was one of the most best dual-threat quarterbacks in football. He's rushed for over 5,300 yards, and Justin Fields can learn from him. But then at some point, you know, Russell Wilson's going to have to pass the baton, and I think it'll be the beginning of the Justin Fields era in Pittsburgh.
Tim, you're our quarterback today. Who is the Steelers quarterback? We get that Russell is in pole position, but who do you believe will be their starter week 1, and who do you believe will be their starter week, let's call it 8?
Yeah, I think there's a chance Russ is the starter week 1, but I think when you get to week 8, I think it's going to be Justin Fields. The reality is that Russell Wilson hasn't played great, really, you could argue, the last 3 seasons. And so with that being the case, and the fact that he's making league minimum, and the fact that a remarkably talented player will be his backup, which, you know, is going to be enticing for the Steelers coaching staff to play, as well as just kind of find out what they have in him. I think the desire to play him is going to be strong. And so unless Russell Wilson is playing unbelievably, or unless the Pittsburgh Steelers are just not losing football games, I think it's going to be too hard not to play Justin Fields. And so with that being the case, I think whether you want to call it a controversy or not, when you're playing 2 different quarterbacks, it's generally speaking not good for your football team. I think they're headed that direction, and I think it's obvious that that's what's going to happen.
Look, they inarguably did a great job here, right, Mike T? I mean, they improved from Kenny Pickett and Mason Rudolph to Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, and they gave up practically nothing to do it in trade compensation or in salary. That said, if you're in charge there, how are you viewing your quarterback situation short-term and, more importantly, long-term?
Yeah, Justin Fields is their future. So I know Russell Wilson right now is the starter, as Mike Tomlin wants to tamp down the noise. But, Green, this could be one of the best trades we've seen in a decade or more, because Justin Fields is 25 years old. I think he's a perfect fit for Arthur Smith. And you look at what Arthur Smith did with Ryan Tannehill in Tennessee. Very similar skill set from a talent standpoint. They're going to run the ball, quarterback runs, and then play action with deep shots, and that's what Justin Fields can do. This is immeasurably better than what they had with Kenny Pickett and Mason Rudolph. I think it was a great job getting both players, and not all quarterback depth charts are created equal. And I know that Russell Wilson is one, but gosh, 1A right below that is Justin Fields, and he's going to come on strong, and I think it's going to be hard to keep him on the bench. And once he's in, we're talking about an extension and making him our quarterback for the foreseeable future.
And so very quickly, and obviously we're a long way off from all these things actually happening, but do you believe, we've been saying for the longest time, wow, look what Mike Tomlin has done with no quarterback, Do you believe they've got the guy now? Can Justin Fields be the guy that makes them a legitimate contender?
I think he's potentially going to save the general manager's job, because you talk about Kenny Pickett. That was talking about falling flat on your face. In a draft that didn't have a lot of good quarterbacks. They took him and they took Najee Harris in the first round, and they needed talent. And this is an influx of talent. This is a guy that makes the running game better because of his ability, 1,000-yard rusher. I think this gives them an opportunity to compete. I still think that this doesn't put them over the top. Thinking about who they're dealing with, this gives them a fighter's chance. The fact that the gap between the quarterbacks in that division isn't as big as it once was when Kenny Pickett was there.
Okay, so we're going to continue to hear from all the football coaches as the morning continues. It's better than Mike Tomlin does. I enjoy no matter what it is. But let's talk about what it actually is, Booger McFarland. He's setting it up where Russell Wilson is the guy and Justin Fields has his time to sort of learn and figure it out. But Justin Fields is not a rookie by any means or anything like that. Who do you believe is the quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers as this season gets underway?
I think it's going to be Russell Wilson, and I think it's kind of maybe by default, Greeny. And neither one of them are great choices based on where they are in their career, but the lesser of two evils is going to be Russell Wilson. He did perform pretty well last year with a very good touchdown-interception ratio. I think the fit in Denver wasn't good between Russell and Sean Payton, and by and large, this is going to be a very good fit for him in Pittsburgh. With Arthur Smith as the OC, they're going to run the football. It's going to be Najee Harris, Jalen Warren, this physical offensive line, play-action pass. They're going to allow Russ to throw the football deep, and we know Russ is a very good deep ball thrower. And on top of that, Greeny, it doesn't cost them anything, $1 million, and they got a starting quarterback. And if Russ does fail, now you can go to this project of sorts in Justin Fields. So I think Russ is going to get the first bat, and I think as long as Russ doesn't wet the bed, as long as he stays healthy, he's going to be the quarterback all season for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
What is your sense of this, Jeff?
Look, I was just glad to hear Mike Tomlin essentially say that there will be a competition, because the Steelers were pretty adamant out of the gates that after they signed Justin Fields, Russell Wilson would be the starter. They definitely walked that back and made very clear this will be a competition in training camp. And to me, I think it will be a dead even heat based on what I'm hearing about Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. By no means do I believe that this is truly decided.
Yeah, and Bart, if I were a betting man, and I'm not, but if I were a betting man, I would bet that Justin Fields is going to be the starting quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Not even close. At some point, Russell Wilson's going to have to pass that baton. I mean, I look at Mike Tomlin, I love him, but, he's sweating like Arnold Schwarzenegger in Total Recall. That's because he wasn't telling the truth. Like, you look at what he was saying. Like, you talk about Arthur Smith, and to your point, Justin Fields isn't a young quarterback. So we're trying to set up a situation like Jordan Love where they don't pick up his fifth-year option, but probably they give him a small prove-it deal going forward. They need a future quarterback because Kenny Pickett was their future quarterback. Russell Wilson at this point in his career isn't the future of anything. You talk about the RPO game and what he brings. He has an element of his game that Russell Wilson at this point in his career doesn't have. And you talk about being able to have those great running backs and being able to run the ball, but the threat of the quarterback keeping the ball from a former 1,000-yard rusher.
Go ahead, Booger.
Yeah, but here's the one thing, Bart. We're talking about the future. Mike Tomlin wants to win now because, again, we continue to say Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season. Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season. Well, that's getting old. The Pittsburgh Steelers want to win. They want to compete in the AFC North. And which quarterback is going to give them the best opportunity to win, to get the football down the field to George Pickens, to make plays, to compete with Cincinnati, to compete with Baltimore, to compete with Kansas City? I think it's going to be Russell Wilson. And so we can talk about the upside of Justin Fields all we want. Justin Fields has so much upside, they decided to move on and go to an unknown prospect in Chicago in Caleb Williams. So the upside sometimes will get you ran out of town. Not that Mike Tomlin is in that situation, but they need to win football games now in Pittsburgh. And for as great an athlete as Justin Fields is, for as great a prospect as he is, he hasn't been a very good quarterback. And that's the problem. And that's why I think Russell Wilson has the edge on him.
Over the quarterback that his organization is eating $35 million because he stunk so bad that they're eating so much dead cap money. I mean, what are we picking against? You talk about a guy that at least he has an element that he can run the football and do something very well. At this point, Russell Wilson does nothing exceptional.
It's the beginning of that debate in Pittsburgh, and you can tell it is going to go on.